I went to an insane show last week. I went to the Guthrie Trap, Tom Bukovac, Jedd Hughes, Jack Rouge show at the Underdog last week. I was actually helping Brett Papa. I was helping man the video cameras in the back. So if that video comes out, and you see any shaky hands, that was because of me, because I was starstruck. I was kind of starstruck though. Insane talent there that night. The one, there's two takeaways I had, okay? Maybe three. Takeaway number one, these guys are just, you can tell how much they play. I mean, they're probably playing like 6 to 8 hours a day. I remember one of my buddies, he went to New England Conservatory of Music. We were in a band together, and he went on to like do fantastic music stuff and does amazing things. He got into their master's program for composition, and he still practices. That was like 15 years ago, and he still practices like 8 hours a day. And I'm like, man, I'm not even close to that, man. I don't even think I'm at 8 hours a week, just because I'm doing like video stuff. And then after seeing the show, it made me realize, like, okay, I gotta start playing more. Like, there's just no getting around that. And so what I'm encouraged, let's do it together though. I think you guys probably need to play more. I know I need to play more. So let's play more together. So this is how we're gonna do it. We're gonna take one concept each week. We'll practice it, and then we'll check in the following week and see how it feels. What I want to focus on, and the thing I noticed at the show, is that everyone was so comfortable playing long notes. And I don't know if I've touched on this before, but like I get really frantic when I solo. If it's not pre-written, I'm like, time to play every note I know. Because I'm not settling, I'm not calm, I'm not confident in the note choice. And it's really frustrating. I don't know why. I've been like that since a kid. And I think it's mostly because I just haven't practiced enough and I haven't played out live enough. So, what I'm going to be doing this week is, practicing playing long notes. So I'll come up with a little riff. So do something like that to like practice on thinking of a note ahead of time. Hold it for like minimum 2 beats, maybe a whole note if you can muster it. Because these guys would play a note, they would let it sit, right? And it was very, I mean, it did two things. One, it made everyone listen intently, right? When there's nothing happening, your ears go like, wait a second, like what's going on here? But then the other thing is that it builds tension, right? Well, it's like, well, where's he gonna go from here, right? If you're just, and then when you come back in with the note, it's just like this really satisfying build, right? You're just getting everyone to calm down, especially if like there's a soloist going and then now it's your turn to solo. And I'm assuming their solo ended on like a rip and lick. So what are you gonna do? You gotta bring it back down, right? You gotta get those levels lower. So that's the first takeaway. Second takeaway, Jedd Hughes, like I knew he was good because I've seen his videos and I've seen his interviews that he's done with people. But this guy is a monster, okay? Like his songs, I mean, he was playing his songs, right? And he ripped, man. He was just playing beautiful, he had beautiful note selection. His tones were awesome. Great singing voice. So please check out his stuff. I'm gonna put his socials below if you haven't heard of him. Obviously, most of you have. I mean, I did, but I was still so shocked. I was not prepared for how good his set was gonna be. I mean, it's gonna be good, but it was just like one of those things where I was just like dumbstruck, awestruck, dumbfounded. Sorry, combine those. And so I'm manning these cameras on the side, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this guy's so good. And I was like, forgetting to get focus and all that stuff. And then, right, is that the number one, number two? That was it. Those are the two things I want to talk about from the show. It was, if you ever come down to Nashville, there's this place called the Underdog. That's where they played. And it's like the dirtiest venue you could think of, but it's got a great energy there. However, that night it was like insanely hot outside, and inside it was probably 100 degrees in there. Like the sweat was like dripping down my face. and it was not comfortable because it was a long show. I mean, it was like 4 hours, so you're just sitting there sweating, like drinking beer, like to hydrate, like that vibe. And I was out late, man. Like, I got 3 kids, and my youngest is turning 1, so it's not like the mornings are like a leisurely start, right? Like when it starts, it's like starter's pistol. Like get ready, like they need, they want to play, they want to have fun, and so you got to be like engaged, and staying out till 1 definitely, you know, not easy. Um, and then the last thing, there's a couple of other things too, like not not many, but one person got really upset about me bringing up like Rick Beato should start a record label, like this guy, and he followed me. I felt really weird about it because he was saying that I was slandering Rick, and I didn't think I was doing any of that. But maybe I'm off base. But all I'm trying to do is like maybe Rick Beato's not the guy to start Rick Beato Records, but like that is certainly my goal. If I get to his point where I'm able to have the connections at the manufacturers, at the publishers, the labels, writers, producers. If I have those people at my disposal, I'm going to start a record label. Like, and I don't care if it's feasible. Like again, like all the projects that I've run in the past, everyone told me it's never going to work, and I still did them, and they sometimes worked. Sometimes they didn't work, but like I don't care if I fail. Like it's not that big a deal failing. Like, oh well, like it didn't work. Um, but it's like I just see in my head, like someone brought up this great comment below. Podcasters go on tour, like people who talk into a microphone go on tour. I'm like, certainly we could get people to pay for musicians going on tour, right? Like that's not that far of a leap, as long as it's packaged in the right way, right? And as long as there's a message about it. Like, what is this? Why should I go? And I think that's what everyone always fails to talk about when it comes to like marketing music. People talk about marketing music like ads and this and that. It's like no. It's like why? Why should someone care about this tour, this album, this artist? Right? That's really what it is. Like the Tom Bukovac Guthrie Trap, like this session player kind of like resurgence that's happening right now is because during COVID, all these session players, and specifically Tom Bukovac, was like, hey, like we should just start talking and doing things, and so it got their name into like the zeitgeist of like everyone being on YouTube and watching guitar stuff. And then from that, people realized these are the guys behind all like the hits. Like these are the guys that are like not getting writers credit, but technically helping write the song of all these amazing tracks. And then it started going like backwards now, where it's like they're interviewing like David Huff and Lukather and all these guys who created the great tracks of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And so like people are starting to realize the why that is there, the brand and the frame of this package of session players is these are the guys that are like the unsung heroes, the working man's musicians, right? Like they're not the artists. And not to diminish artists. I think the one thing they were kind of forgetting a little bit is like none of this would happen without artists. So artists are really important. But that doesn't mean that everyone like can't get their time to shine. Anyway, but my whole point is I'm gonna do something like this. I don't have the power yet, right? Like 13,000 subscribers. Like I appreciate every one of you, but like there's no company that's going to be like, yeah, sounds good, but here's $1 million. So let's get this channel big enough, because like all I want to do is pay it forward to other musicians, right? Like that's the only thing I want. I want to throw huge parties for musicians where musicians get praised for their music. Like that's what I want. And I want people who love that stuff to be there to see these musicians. That's what I want. Like, of course, I mean, it's fun to make goofy videos with like talking pedals and a bear and a TV. Like that's fun for me to do, but like that's not like paying it forward. That's just like exercising a creative thing. I don't know. You know what I mean though? It's like I want to get there so I can put the ladder down and like bring as many great guitarists and musicians with me. Like it's not, I don't want to sit on an island like without any other musicians. I mean, like my dream scenario is playing with other musicians all the time, and yet I'm in here alone all the time. So like I have to like create this like path through like this solitary artist wilderness to get to the place where like all the musicians that I want to play with, I can finally play with. Okay. So the thing we're going to work on this week, holding out long notes. Let's check in again next Monday. And I think it's going to be fun. Let's learn together, right? And then next week, we're going to talk about chording, right? So the stuff where I'm always going like... stuff like that. I think it's like the one thing I learned, like I was very nervous to be like a lead and like soloist when I was younger at guitar. So would like fill my time with like writing like I'm not writing, but like trying to find interesting ways to play the chords of the songs. You know, as a rhythm guitar, so you get bored. So it's like, okay, like how can I find a fun way to play the D chord? It's like, okay, that's cool, but it's like, okay, that's cool, but then, okay, that's cool, but then like, okay, like that would work over like some scenarios at 6 or, I mean, there's just like, and then you can put the D like there, right? Like there were just like so many fun ways to think about it. The 2 on the bottom, like there's a lot of cool stuff that like I found because I was afraid of soloing. So I want to spread. We'll talk about chording next week, of like finding a song, chording the melody along with it, and like using that as a way to practice to get better, because that's what we need to do. I love gear. I want more gear. That whole wall right there, that's all pedals. I love gear, but I think I need to practice more, and maybe you want to practice with me. I invite you. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you next time on the internet.